When it comes to courtrooms, we expect order and justice. But a man climbing through a ceiling, a murderer waving goodbye to his judge, and a bailiff diving headfirst over a banister? Today we're diving into the wildest courtroom escapes ever caught on camera. Moscow, Russia. "18-year-old Leonid Greyser sits inside a bulletproof glass box in the courtroom. He's been accused of murdering his 21-year-old sister, Ariada Koral, and his confession made global headlines, not because of the murder itself, but because of why he did it.
Тебе решение суда понятно?
Satan told him to. At the crime scene, he was found undressed, drawing demonic symbols in his sister's blood on her body and on his own head. He told officers it was necessary. Now he's in the glass dock. Officers surround him.
Зачем так с сестрой расправились?
The proceedings begin. That apparently doesn't matter. Greyser grips the rails inside the box and starts climbing. Bailiffs watch, certain he'll stop. He doesn't. He reaches the top and rams his head through the ceiling tiles, hauling his body upward while his legs dangle below. Bailiffs finally rush in, beating him with batons, grabbing his legs, yanking his waistband. In the chaos, his trousers are pulled completely off, leaving him half naked, stuck in a courthouse ceiling, being dragged back down by his bare legs before a taser finally ends it. He slid back down into the box. Handcuffed. The courtroom sat in complete silence. In September 2020, the court sentenced Greyser to compulsory psychiatric treatment. The video went viral worldwide. Millions watched on TikTok.
Не лезь, не надо.
Куда ты едешь? Сел.
A&E's court cam featured it, and it earned its place as one of the most bizarre escape attempts ever recorded. Not because it was clever, because of the sheer audacity of trying to crawl through a ceiling with an entire courtroom watching. If escaping through a ceiling is wild, wait until you hear about the man who walked straight out of his own murder trial while his whole family ran the getaway car. Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Say he was a man without a serious record until they say he committed the most violent of acts.
Fox 6's Jonathan Gregg explains love pushed him over the edge in Wisconsin's most.
25-year-old Dwayne Chaney arrives at the courthouse looking sharp. Collared shirt, blue vest, khaki pants. He's been charged with the 2005 killing of Michael Prescott. Prosecutors say Chaney slashed Prescott's tires first so he couldn't escape, then murdered him. Despite facing murder charges, Chaney had been out on a $250,000 signature bond. No cash paid, just his word he'd show up. 5 surveillance cameras are rolling as he enters. At 9:25 a.m., family friend Frank Kiles heads into the courtroom. Chaney approaches the courtroom door, pushes it open, looks at the judge, and waves. Not a glance, a wave. Goodbye. He lets the door close, meets Kiles in the hallway, and heads straight for the elevator. Outside, he strips off his vest and button-down shirt, pulling on a plain white t-shirt to blend in. A white Toyota Scion pulls to the curb. Behind the wheel, his mother, Florigenia Chaney. A 4-day manhunt launches. U.S. Marshals, FBI. Wisconsin's most wanted list. 4 days later, officers find Dwayne Chaney hiding in a garbage can on Milwaukee's northwest side. The man who waved goodbye to his judge had been inside a garbage can for 4 days. At sentencing, Prescott's mother faced him directly.
I definitely have been terrified for the last several days with not even being able to sleep at night with this murderer on the loose, not knowing whether or not he was coming to attack any of us. It's just very, very scary.
Dwayne plotted, planned, and premeditated how to kill my son. He slashed the tires of his car so he couldn't escape. It was a slap in our face for his family to help him. Then, almost impossibly, from the moment Dwayne killed Michael, I forgave him.
It's time to heal. It's just time to heal. We still will grieve. We will still grieve. And again, I think I said last week that we don't take pleasure in pain for anyone. But now we're at a place where we just hope that, he can find a path of healing somehow for himself.
Chaney still denied everything. I want to say sorry for your loss. I, Dwayne Chaney, send my condolences and pray that you guys find the perpetrator.
Held high, with courage, to face my accuser. But instead, out of fear and not being represented well and unfair, I ran like a coward.
Judge Carolina Stark sentenced him to life. No parole. His mother pleaded guilty to felony bail jumping. Frank Kiles pleaded guilty too. The whole family helped him run. The whole family paid for it.
There's no doubt that all of these circumstances, the aggravated character of the offenses, your poor character, all require the court to conclude that there is a very high need to protect the community from you.
If waving goodbye to your judge is bold, wait until you hear about the man who walked out of a courthouse, barefoot, in handcuffs, and nobody even noticed. Benton County, Washington State. "24-year-old Gerald Hyde II has just been convicted of methamphetamine possession. He's standing with a group of inmates in a holding room just off the courtroom. One corrections officer shuffles to the far side of the room, turning his back for a moment. Hyde walks backwards, slowly, calmly, right through the door into the empty courtroom. He strips off his bright orange prison shirt and wraps it around his wrists to hide his handcuffs. Kicks off his fluorescent jail shoes. Barefoot, still cuffed, still in prison pants. He walks through the public exit, past civilians, past staff, and straight out the front doors of the courthouse. Nobody stops him. Nobody says a word. Police establish a perimeter. A nearby high school goes on lockdown. For nearly 2 hours, Gerald Hyde II, shoeless, handcuffed, wearing jail pants, evades capture. Tips eventually lead officers to an apartment complex 3 miles away. He was trying to get home to his girlfriend. A&E's court cam later named this the #1 easiest jailbreak in America. No tools, no weapons, no accomplices, just calm nerves, a shirt over his cuffs, and the willingness to walk out barefoot like he owned the place. Additional escape charges were added to his conviction. The courthouse overhauled security entirely, all because one man walked backwards through a door when nobody was watching. Slipping out unnoticed is one thing, but what about the murder suspect who used the one moment the law required him to be unshackled to sprint through an entire courthouse? Hillsboro, Oregon. "28-year-old Villalobos Jr. is being brought in for jury selection. He's facing murder charges. In April 2021, he stabbed his stepfather, 33-year-old Artemio Guzman Olvera, multiple times in the neck and jaw during a home argument. Guzman Olvera died. Hours later, Villalobos allegedly attacked a second man at an apartment complex, slashing his torso. He was arrested after a foot chase near a high school. Now, Oregon state law requires that defendants not appear restrained in front of juries. So as deputies sit Villalobos in his chair for jury selection, one of them removes the leg shackles and handcuffs. The restraints come off. Villalobos is up and running before the deputy's hands leave the cuffs. He shoves 2 chairs aside, bolts for the back door and into the hallway. Out through staff-only doors, past a woman in the entrance. Outside. Deputies chase him through the streets twice. Both times, he slips away. 2 hours later, a resident calls 911. Someone is breaking into the apartment below them. Deputies make entry. Inside an uninhabited unit, under a blanket, inside a closet, they find Eddie Villalobos. He now faces 2 counts of first-degree burglary and second-degree escape on top of the murder charge. Oregon's law requiring the removal of restraints before juries became a statewide conversation. Unfortunately, when it comes to removing the restraints, that's what Oregon law requires us to do, said the sheriff's spokesperson.
This gentleman was on trial, starting his trial. They were actually starting the jury selection process this morning. He was brought into court by 2 deputies.
Villalobos made it 2 hours before ending up under a blanket in a stranger's closet. 2 hours of freedom is bad. But Cyrus Matthews took 60 days of jail time and turned it into years in about 90 seconds. Wadsworth, Ohio. "19-year-old Cyrus Matthews is being sentenced for misdemeanor road rage charges."
That teen led police on a high-speed chase through Wadsworth just minutes after he bolted out of a courtroom.
Facing jail time for another driving incident, the chase came to a screeching halt when he crashed into another car and injured 4 others. New tonight at 6, our Bob Jones asked the judge who sentenced him, how did this happen, and if security changes are needed.
Reckless operation. Criminal damaging. Minor stuff. Judge Stephen McIlvaine sentences him to 60 days in jail, effective immediately.
Acting immature on the road, I understand that, being on the road, you do have other people's lives in your hand. And, I should have thought about that. Is there, any way that we could reverse this jail time?
Well, you're going to have to go to jail today. If you need to get out to attend the hearing, we can consider furloughs. Okay, but right now you're going to go to jail today.
Matthews looks at his girlfriend in the gallery. Then he walks out. Not running. Walking. Right through the public entrance, through the doors, into the parking lot. Bailiff Sharon Ray follows him outside and tries to reason with him. You don't want to do this. That's a felony escape.
Where's he at? All right, we're gonna have multiple vehicles, airbag deployment. Ma'am, are you okay? Okay.
She's okay. All right, we got squads coming.
Ashley, help them get out. Help them get out. He's up here.
She turns to the girlfriend. If you really love him, tell him he's making a poor decision. Matthews gets behind the wheel. The girlfriend gets in. They're gone. The chase hits 90 miles per hour.
He was sentenced to jail and took off. I saw him turn north onto Lyman from Maple. He was in an older gray four-door vehicle.
28, he's not. He's running red lights at Hartman. Passing on the right at Williams Reserve. My speed's 90, trying to catch up. Wadsworth, I think we're going to have a code 2. We're going to have a code 2 at Akron, 76.
Matthews loses control on State Route 261 and slams head-on into an SUV carrying a couple and their 10-month-old baby.
Breathe in and out, 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 breathe in and out.
Wadsworth, I'm going to need multiple squads.
I need help, sir.
Okay.
I don't know why I did this.
Okay, sit tight. taking off?
Because they're trying to lock me up for 90 days and I have a whole life.
So what happened?
I tried to run my...
Why?
I don't know.
Everyone is rushed to hospital. The family survives. Matthews was cut from the wreckage, treated, released, and taken directly to jail. Felony escape and fleeing charges added to his 60 days.
In 21 years on the bench, a Wadsworth municipal judge says he's never seen a defendant who was sentenced to jail just walk out of court and escape. What happened next was even more alarming.
He ran from 2 months. He drove headfirst into years. Running from 60 days is reckless. But what about a man who bolted from a 5-year sentence, only to be tackled by his own girlfriend? Louisville, Kentucky. "29-year-old Raiton Woodford is at a probation revocation hearing for prior drug and weapons violations. Judge Barry Willett reviews the case. Mr. Woodford, I'm going to sentence you to serve 5 years. Good luck to you." Woodford doesn't wait for another word.
That evening, he was charged with a handgun and narcotics.
And if you know, was Mr. Woodford at the time a convicted felon?
Yes, he was.
He's through the back door before the deputies can move, sprinting into the hallway, struggling as the first officer grabs him. But then the unexpected happens. His girlfriend, who came to court to support him, runs out after him, not to help him escape. She tackles him. A deputy misreads the chaos, grabs her, and pulls her hair. She ends up tangled in the whole mess. When order is finally restored and Woodford is brought back in chains, his girlfriend stands before Judge Willett, arm bruised. "He pulled my hair, and that's not fair." "I tried to stop him. I tackled him." The judge looks at her. "I appreciate you trying to stop him. But when your boyfriend is fighting with deputies, people might get pushed out of the way."
What I saw was that Mr. Woodford made an unsuccessful attempt to escape the courtroom, and he was apprehended by law enforcement.
But I understand that. I tried to stop that, but there's no reason for that man to pull my hair or push me.
Okay.
But you condoning that, right?
I'm not condoning any. No, wait a minute. Come up here right now.
He was going to hurt somebody. Then, calmly, to the record, Mr. Woodford made an unsuccessful effort to escape. Woodford walked away with second-degree escape, fleeing, resisting arrest, and assault charges stacked on top of his 5 years. His girlfriend went home with a bruise and a story. "Well," said Judge Willett,
You tell me I'm condoning anything. I just told you what I observed. You made an effort to stop him from leaving. I appreciate that. But in the thick of it, when your boyfriend is fighting with deputies, people might get pushed out of the way. Maybe it was for your own safety. He was going to hurt somebody. So don't tell me I'm condoning anything. I did not say that.
That's a first in 19 years on the bench. If your girlfriend tackling you is the low point of your escape, try being chased down 4 flights of stairs by the actual judge. Chehalis, Washington. "22-year-old Tanner Jacobson."
We were sitting there on the benches together, and he's like, "I'm gonna run."
And 28-year-old Cody Howard are among 4 inmates.
I said, "What am I doing? What did I just do? I gotta go with it now. There's nothing, I can't stop right here. There's nothing I can do now. I'm screwed."
Being escorted out of Judge R.W. Buzzard's courtroom. Still cuffed. Still in jail clothes. The deputy leads the group toward the secure exit. Jacobson and Howard are last in line. They look at each other. And run. They blow past the judge and burst through the public door into the 3rd-floor stairwell. What they don't account for is Judge Buzzard standing up, ripping off his robe because, as he'd later explain, he'd learned from experience that a robe is very restrictive when chasing people, dropping it on the bench, and sprinting after them. Down 3 floors. Jacobson hits the emergency exit and bursts outside. Howard is a step behind, his hand reaching for the door. Judge Buzzard grabs him. Jacobson is apprehended a few blocks away. Howard is held at the exit until backup arrives. Both charged with felony second-degree escape. "I don't like it when judges are jumping over the bench to chase people," said the prosecutor. Buzzard's response was simple. He wasn't trying to be a hero. He just didn't want them to get away. He ripped off his robe and ran. And it worked. A judge sprinting down a stairwell is something else entirely. But what about the man who walked out of a courtroom facing multiple felonies and made his getaway on a bicycle? Boulder, Colorado. "30-year-old Cody Coon is at a hearing facing serious charges."
But real fact, in America every year, thousands of homicide cases go unsolved.
Second-degree assault on a peace officer, resisting arrest, retaliation against a witness, and eluding police. Active felony warrants on all of them. The judge orders him remanded into custody immediately. Coon turns and walks straight out the front entrance. The Boulder County Jail courtroom sits at 3200 Airport Road, technically outside the secured perimeter of the jail itself. That detail is the only reason he makes it outside at all. Deputies give chase, but lose him almost immediately. A perimeter is established. Officers sweep the area. About an hour later, a witness spots someone matching his description pedaling a bicycle on Canyon Boulevard. Cody Coon, facing multiple felony charges, on the run from law enforcement, escaped a courtroom and got on a bicycle. He was apprehended shortly after and returned to custody with additional escape charges piled on top of everything else he was already facing. No dramatic highway chase. No hiding in a ceiling. Just a man, a bike, and one of the most casually absurd escape attempts on this entire list. But while a bicycle escape is absurdly casual, what about a deputy who was so determined to stop an escape that he dove headfirst over a banister and broke 4 ribs? Highland County, Ohio. "33-year-old Nicholas Garrison is being sentenced for methamphetamine possession."
Something else. Garrison faced up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $2,500. If you know anything about his whereabouts, contact the Highland County Sheriff's Office. Ashley Kirkland, WLWT News 5.
His attorney had hoped for probation. The judge sentences him to 6 months, plus 530 additional days for a prior parole violation. Nearly 2 years.
This morning he's still in a lot of pain. He had some fractured ribs and a concussion, a mild concussion, I guess. And I think he said he broke 4 ribs.
Bailiff moves to handcuff him. Garrison pulls free and runs, straight through a door that should have been secured but wasn't. Deputies give chase into the stairwell. One deputy reaches the top floor banister, sees Garrison already halfway down, and makes a decision. He dives headfirst over the railing. He misses, bounces down the stairs on his back and hits the bottom hard. 4 broken ribs, minor concussion. Garrison is out the door and gone. 3 days later, a tip leads officers to a motel. Garrison is taken into custody without a fight. He faces the original sentence plus escape charges. The deputy with 4 broken ribs recovered. The security door was fixed. And the video of a man launching himself over a banister for a drug charge went viral overnight. Because sometimes the most unbelievable part of these stories isn't the person running. It's the people who refuse to let them go. Every single person in this video, the ceiling climber, the judge waiver, the barefoot handcuffed walker, the closet hider, the road rager who crashed into a baby's car, the man tackled by his own girlfriend, the 2 chased by their judge, the bicycle fugitive, and the deputy who dove over the banister, every last one of them got caught. They always do. If these stories had you on the edge of your seat, drop a comment telling me which escape shocked you the most. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.